Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome back. I'm Jeannie and I have a little Sweetie Nail Supply mini haul. You know I've been obsessed with Sweetie Nail Supply and I don't see any end in sight, but I am super excited for this package because I may or may not have been influenced to buy the Rozyhip Gemstone Collection. I cannot wait to see it in person, because when I see it in videos, it is just so gorgeous. But of course, I couldn't just pick up that, so I had to pick up a few more things. As you can tell, I haven't opened it yet. I wanted to wait and open it together. So let's go ahead and break into it because I'm just way too excited. Because honestly, I can't even remember everything that I bought besides the Gemstone Collection. I think I did end up buying a couple backups of stuff, but we'll see. All right, let's get into it. That's right. So I did want to try some of the tips. I've been eyeing the tips that are in Sweetie Nail Supply, so I decided to start with these ones because they're cover tips. I really love cover tips. So these are the Diami Canoe tips. So 360 pieces, 12 sizes. They look super cute, so I wanted to try them, see like what the apex is like, size and shape, fit, thickness, all that. So I'm gonna show you like a peek at them, but let's finish unboxing first, and then I'll dive a little bit deeper into the products. But I got these tips to try out, and I'm gonna wait on the Rozyhip collection. I tried some yogurt gels for the first time a little while ago and I absolutely loved them. So I decided might as well get some staples. So from yogurt gel, I got a white and black because they're staples. So I really wanted to try, we'll open them later. I wanted to try what these were like because I really liked the gels that I did try from them. So we'll take a closer look at that. These are backups because Sweetie Nail Supply was having a sale. So if you know I've been obsessed with the 𝓢𝓾𝓹𝓵 Basics gel set. So the base clear gel, which is the clear builder gel, and then the top coat. Obsessed, my absolute favorite. So that's what I have as an overlay on my natural nails. Just look at that shine. And I also have it on my left hand as well. It's a little grown out, and then I have the extension on my ring finger, but this one on my left hand, this is fresh, but on my left hand, my right hand, man, I don't know my right and my left. On my right hand, I've had this on for weeks, well, really months, because I've been doing fills, like a lot of fills. So I've had this on for a long time. So look at just the shine that you still see on my right hand, even though I've had this on for the last fill I did was 2 or 3 weeks ago, so that's why you see like grow out, things like that. But just look at the shine I still have. So really, really great. So I had to get a backup of these while they were on sale because I never want to run out. Absolutely obsessed. Seriously recommend this. Even if you don't need like a clear builder gel type, even though you can use it to encapsulate things, you can do an overlay. I highly recommend the top and base coat at least. I mean, you should get all three, but definitely recommend. And then, oh, this is another backup. So I've been trying the 𝓢𝓾𝓹𝓵. I think that's how you pronounce it. The caramel tip gel. So this is a gel where you put a little bit on your tip stands, cure it, and then it helps your tips adhere to your stand. So I have like a little bit of gel, so I've been testing it out and I've been really liking it. So I decided to get a backup of this as well because it's a nice, what's the word I'm looking for? Not change, but I prefer it actually, I think, to like, the blue tack, the sticky tabs, things like that. I find this easier to use, so I got a backup of this. And then I was eyeing these charms. So these are Bonnie B charms, and they just looked so pretty. Just look at them. Oh my gosh, these are even prettier in person. I've been eyeing them for a while. I had them in and out of my cart for a few orders, and I finally bought them, and wow, that is stunning. So there's different shapes in that. This may be the last thing. So this was by Bonnie B as well. This was a chrome palette, but I loved like the variety of colors. I haven't seen these colors before. So they've got like the blue, the rose gold, the bronzy. This is like a graphite grayish color. There's a pearly white. So I just thought these colors were so unique. So I was excited to try this chrome palette. And then, yep, the whole reason I placed the order, this, I am so excited for this gemstone collection. I will swatch it, but we're just going to take a quick peek at it. So, of course, the swatch card and the little stand for your swatch card. They included a little bar magnet. I always love that these collections come with a bar magnet. I mean, I have a ton, but if you're newer to cat eyes, you may not have a bar. Look at this branding. Look at the ombre on the bottle. The whole aesthetic is just stunning. Just look at that. It's a little bit colder in my room, so I don't know if it'll thin out a little bit once it warms up, but this is the consistency. So right now, because it's cold in my room, it's a little bit thicker. Not super thick at all, but so creamy and so beautiful. So we're going to swatch these out, but I just wanted to do a quick unboxing. So I'm going to swatch these last, honestly. So these tips. They're like a light peachy pink color. So 12 sizes. This is size 0, so it starts from size 0 and then goes to size 11. Uh-oh. Well, I'll find that later. I do not want to fish that out. Yep, so size 11. So starting with size 0. So it is a rounded cuticle. So I would probably have to, like, my thumb has a square cuticle line, and then the rest of my fingers have that rounded. So I probably will have to straighten this out a little bit, but you can see it's very sheer. So it's just like that little bit of color, which I like. But this is the size 0 on me. So you can see like all that extra overhang. I don't think it's huge. Like, I've had bigger tips, but you can kind of see the size of a size 0, and then you can see that sheerness of it. So that's what a size 0 looks like. And then as far as apex, it's not super curved, but it's not super flat either. I think it's a really great, like, for flatter nail beds. It may be a good option because I'm not seeing a huge difference. But let's see. I usually wear like a 1 or a 2 depending on the brand. Oh, this is a 4. So let's see what a size 2 looks like to see if that'll fit my thumb. So a size 2 is definitely way too small. So we'll go to a size 1. These are super thin. I like that. I like that. So that's a size 1. So it's a little bit big, but I'll just have to adjust it because the 0 was way too big. This is still a little bit big, but we saw the 2 was too small. So I just shape it to fit my nail, but this is definitely would be the size for my thumb, would be that size 1. Yeah, it's definitely a flatter tip. So this is really good for flat nail beds, which I have flatter nail beds. And then I'd say it's probably like a medium almond shape. It's definitely not a short almond. So it's about a medium almond. And then let me play with the 0 because I don't use it. As far as thickness, you can see it's super, super thin, flexible. Let's do a little bend test. So easily bent. And then you can see a little bit of that white line when I bent it, but for the most part, it kind of bounces right back where you can barely see that I bent it. So it's a little bit thicker at the free edge, super thin at the cuticle line, which I really like because you want it to look as natural as possible, like transition. Here is my flattest nail. Like I swear it curves inward. Yeah, I would say if you have super curved nails, if you have a natural apex, these may not work for you. But if you have flatter nail beds, these are so good. So good. Okay, let me show you. Where is my caramel tip gel? Oh, here it is. So this is my open bottle of the 𝓢𝓀𝓮𝓮𝓲𝓮 caramel tip gel. So I'll just show you with this stand because I'm gonna do a little swatching. So this is a gel. So I'm just going to apply a little bit to the top of my tip, and then it's going to level. So a little bit goes a long way, especially because these are smaller tip stands. I get these from Playground Nails. So it leveled. I'm going to cure that for 30 seconds. And the thing I mentioned that I love about this tip gel is that they say that if things aren't sticking to it, if you just rub it with some isopropyl alcohol, it'll make it, and let it dry, it'll make it tacky again, which I have tested out and it is true. So you can reuse this. So we'll start with our yogurt gel. So this is the black. Let's see. Let's put it on little teddy bears. So we'll do the black and the white first. I'm wondering, should I swatch these too? I might. Let's see. Let's see. But let's start with the, let me zoom in a little bit. Can you see that? Yeah. I like the consistency. I'm not sure how well the bears are going to stick to this tip gel because obviously they're not flat. Okay, so I would say it's not fully opaque. It's not a one coater, but I think I can get the opacity in 2 layers. So I'll do a second one, but we'll try the white first. We'll cure them and we'll do a second layer of these swatches. And you always want to do thin layers of your gel polish so they don't wrinkle on you, so they can cure properly, especially opaque colors, because they have a harder time curing because of the opacity, especially white. So this white is really good. I wouldn't say one coat coverage, but pretty close. It's really good coverage. So there's that. Let's cure it. Okay, that's layer 1. I'm going to go ahead and actually do 2 layers because I want full opacity of these swatches. But smooth gel, easy to use. And who can't, you know, black and white are just staples. Can always use a good black and white. And there you go, full opacity in 2 layers. Beautiful. I've been really loving Yogurt Gel. They have really good products. It's hard not to buy like everything because, oh man, there's so much stuff that I want to buy still. Gotta pace myself though. There's only so many products I can use. I only have 2 hands and not enough time. Perfect. Levels beautifully, fully opaque in 2 layers. Look at how cute. Okay. Let's go ahead and swatch out these chromes because I want to see what they look like. So I went ahead and put my swatch gems on. I top coated it and I flash cured it. So I used the 𝓢𝓮𝓮𝓮 gel top coat. I flash cured it for about, I think it was about 12 seconds because I haven't chromed with it. So I'm not sure what the right timing is because it's really dependent on your lamp. It's dependent on the gel. So we'll see if that is enough time, too much. So there's 6 colors. So I'm just going to do it on the clear first because when you display it, it's going to show on the top. So you want to do it kind of backwards. So I'm going to do the chrome first. And if I find that I feel like I need a base color, I'll do that on top. But I'm going to start with the chrome first. And that'll also be a good way to see like how opaque it is or whether you do need a base color. Oh no, that's not good. I mean, at least the chrome's still okay, but I didn't expect that to fall out. All right, well, that's fine. So I'm going to start with the lightest first, which is like this pearly color. So a little bit's going a long way, so it doesn't even look like I touched it. Actually, let's do this one first. Ooh, that is pretty. Do you see that? I thought it might be a little more clear, but it isn't. It's just very pearly. It's actually pretty opaque. Let me put a little bit more just because it's so, so pretty. Wow. I feel like that doesn't even need a base color. Because look at that. So anything, if you put it over a color on your nail, it's just really going to cover it up. I mean, I'm sure it'll probably maybe deepen it a little bit, but just know that it's really, it's actually pretty opaque. So if you're expecting like a clear type chrome, like that glazed donut look, definitely not this one, but it is so pretty. Like this reminds me of like, that'd be really good for a wedding set. Or imagine doing French tips, like your classic French tips, but then chroming the white on your French tips with this. That would be so, so gorgeous. Okay, so there's that one. And then I guess we'll just move down the line. So we'll go with this one. So I would say this is like a gunmetal type color. I feel like it's not as opaque, but it does have good coverage. It's still really pretty though. And pardon my sniffles, but I can still see through it. Like you can see, like when I turn it at the angle, you can see the stand through it. So it's not fully opaque. I mean, the white wasn't either, but just want to call that out because it's a darker color that like, it's not fully opaque, but once I'm done, I'll turn these, well, I kind of want to see whether I want, well, that doesn't help. So, you know what? Actually, I don't feel like I need a base color under there. I think it's fine the way it is. I just wanted to see the underside to see what that looked like. But I think that's okay. Let's do this. It looks like it's maybe like a rose gold type color. That's really pretty. It's just, you know, a metallic rose gold. So same thing with this one, not fully opaque. It's not like a mirror chrome that like covers up anything, but it's got really good coverage. It's really pretty too. Hopefully you can see how pretty that is. All right, and then we've got the copper. And I'm just lazy and I use the same applicator. That's a really pretty copper color. Okay. So hopefully, I mean, I can see the difference in person. Hopefully you can see that difference off camera of this is more pinky, this one's a little bit deeper, more coppery. And then we'll go for, it looks like this is more of like a brown. That one actually, this one I don't see the swatch stand underneath. So like even at any angle, this one's like fully opaque. I can't see, like, do you see here? You can see the little swatch stand underneath, but here you cannot see it at all. So this is actually a pretty opaque one. I wasn't expecting that. Wow, okay. And then last one, this is why I bought this palette, because I haven't seen a metallic blue on a chrome before, so that is so pretty. I knew that was bound to happen. Stay. All right, that tells me enough. And this one, you can see as well, this one is opaque. So I can't see the nail stand. So these two right here, I can't see the nail stand underneath. And then these four are a little more transparent, but I feel like none of them need a base color underneath unless you want to change the color of them. Anyway, these are just flash cured, so I'm going to go ahead and cure them the rest of the way and top coat them, and then they'll be done. It wasn't seamless, but here we go. How cute is that? I'm going to have to do this to all my chrome palettes from now on because I think that's so adorable. Look at that. You get really great coverage of these chromes without a base coat. I love that. These are so, so beautiful. And now I feel like you can really see the difference in these colors. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. So starting with RM03. So pretty. So we're going to try this out because apparently there's a way to do this collection where you can bring out the shimmers of it. So the first layer, you cat eye or velvetize. And then the second layer, you demagnetize to bring out those shimmers. So first layer. Ooh, did you see that deepen up like that? Wow. So I'm wondering, I should have done a non-magnetic stand, and I forgot this whole side. So then you can really see the difference when I apply another layer on. There we go. See, this is why it's better to do the underside, but that's all right. Okay. Hopefully, even with my lighting, you can see that. Wow. Oh my goodness. That's so, so beautiful. Do you see that? Okay, I'm gonna flash cure it. Okay, I cured the first layer. So what they say is for your second layer, you're going to demagnetize it so you can make it clear and see that shimmer pop through. So we're going to try it and see if it works. It may not work because I used like I talked about, a magnetic stand, but we're going to try anyway because I've already got layer 1 down. So they say, oh, did you see that? Wait, I don't know if that captured. They said just wave the wand over it, your magnetic wand over it, and then it'll demagnetize it and bring out like that glass-like look, that sparkle, and whew, that did not disappoint. So you can see kind of how it looks now, and then hopefully you can see this. Did you see that? Look at that sparkle. All right, I don't know. I'm gonna flash cure it just in case. Okay, everything's fully cured. I put it on the swatch card. Here are the beautiful colors. Just look at that shimmer and like how they're kind of glassy, but you can see that first layer of cat eye underneath. Just so unique and so, so beautiful. I hope they make more colors of these because they are just gorgeous. Okay, now I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do for a set, hop off, and then I'll hop back on, probably do voiceover as we do a set using these amazing colors. If you're still here, thank you for joining me for the long haul. I know that was a little bit longer, but I really wanted you to see those colors in action and all the swatches. I just have fun doing that, but if it's too long, let me know and maybe I'll break up into 2 separate videos. So anyway, now we get to the fun part of using these colors. So I'm going to do a really fun set. I'm just picking out the colors I want to use. I've got all my tips sized out. So these are the Diami Canoe tips. I put them on non-magnetic stands. So these stands are from 𝓲𝓵. I think I might have got them off of Sweetie Nail Supply, or maybe it was 𝓢𝓀𝓮𝓮𝓽𝓲𝓮. But anyway, they're non-magnetic because when you're using magnetic stands and cat eyes, that could interfere with your cat eye. So it's always better to try to use a non-magnetic stand. So we're going to do a little bit of nail art. So this is the Sweetie Nail Supply liner number 2 brush. This is my favorite nail art brush so far. It's super thin, super easy to use. I like that it's a little bit shorter. It's got a cap on it, a silicone cap, but my favorite thing is this shape. So I just thought the shape was neat, but I realized when I put it down, because of the shape, it will not roll away on me because I can't tell you how many times I've used a nail art brush, set it down, and it just starts rolling off the table. So this design is super smart. I decided to try and challenge myself and try some stained glass nail art, which I have never done before, but I just felt like when I swatched these colors out, they just reminded me of stained glass, so I'm going to give that a try. So as my base for the stained glass, I want a matte surface to make it easier to see what I'm doing. So I've got the Divox Zero Matte Top Coat. I think it's a really good matte top coat. So I'm just giving it a couple seconds, making sure that it's level, because if it's not level, it's going to look streaky. It's going to look a little bit off. I thought there was a little area that still looked like maybe it could use a little more coverage. So I'm just going ahead applying that. I'm going to cure that for a full 60 seconds. And then that's going to be my canvas where we're going to attempt this stained glass nail art. Now that my matte top coat is fully cured, I've got a little bit of my first color on my nail art palette. So this is RM08, and I'm going to start with my main design for the stained glass look. So the main design is going to be like a tulip pattern, but it's going to be super basic. I'm not going to get intricate because I can't. I'm just not that talented. So it's going to be super basic, but I think it actually turned out cute. So I'm kind of trying to create like the bulb of the tulip, but it's going to really look like a water droplet. So if you're trying to do this, just like picture drawing a water droplet. So I like to start small with like that bulb at the bottom, and then I will start pulling up, tapering to the top as tall as I want it. And I start small and then I kind of build out to make it the size I want. I find that easier to start small and then start making it larger to get the size I want, rather than just having too much gel and then having to remove that gel. So you'll see me adjusting, like as I'm kind of looking at it, adjusting, I'm kind of building it out to make it a little bit wider. I may build it up to make it a little bit taller. I do want to do like 3 bulbs side to side, but I want them to be the focal point of the nail. So I want them to be large enough to be noticed, but I don't want them to take up the entire nail. So that's kind of where I'm trying to figure out what's the right size where you're going to actually be able to see it. It's going to be the focal point, but it's not going to take up the entire nail where I can't have the other colors incorporated throughout the nail, because what's stained glass without like the different lines and cut areas, and so this is really a trusted process though, because as I was doing this, I wasn't really sure how it was looking, but I think in the end, drawing the outlines afterwards really helped tie it all together. But just starting with the colors, it was like a little iffy. But now that I've got that first layer, I'm happy with the way that looks. I'm going to take my magnet and I'm going to go ahead and magnetize it. So it's going to be like that cat eye magnetized design. So I'm not going to demagnetize it just yet. I just want to magnetize it a little bit with that cat eye, and then I'm going to freeze it in place. I'm going to speed this up a little bit, but I'm going ahead and I'm doing a bulb to the right of that first one that I've done. So I'm starting with the same thing. I'm starting with that dot. I'm drawing upwards, and then I'm going to adjust as I go to make sure like I've got the right shape and I've got the right thickness, because I don't want it to be much larger than my first bulb. I don't want it to be way smaller either. So I want them to be about even. This one, I don't know. I was struggling with the shape and it kept looking a little off and a little blobby. So I kept having to adjust it. But at this point, my first bulb is only flash cured just because I wanted to freeze those magnetic particles in place. So this set did take a little bit longer than normal for nail art because I kept having to flash cure because of the cat eye. So if I were just using regular gels, I wouldn't have to flash cure in between each color. So that's why it took a little bit longer for this set. So I'm going ahead and doing my magnet to cat eye this. I'm going to flash cure that. After I finished with all three bulbs, I gave them a full cure for 60 seconds, and now I'm going to go in with layer 2. So all the colors I'm doing are going to have 2 layers of color. So I'm just going ahead and I'm filling in the first layer of that middle bulb because once again, I'm going to do one bulb at a time. So I just want to make sure that I've got everything entirely covered, that I've got everything filled in, and that it's even, that there's not like thickness and thinness. And then similar to what I did with my swatches, I'm going to wave my wand, my magnetic bar, over it. And that's going to demagnetize the particles and really make those shimmers pop. And then once I've got that how I like it, I'm going to go ahead and flash cure it. And then I'll do the same for the other 2. Of course, the tulips need stems, so I have RM05, which is the green. I'm just applying a little bit of that to my palette. I'm using the same liner brush, so I just cleaned it off. I cleaned off the pink that I was using. And so for the stems, I'm just going to draw at the bottom of the bulbs, just a line going downwards. I'm going to do it for all 3 of the bulbs. I want them about the same length, and it's going to be the same process. So it's going to be 2 layers of the color. The first layer I'm going to magnetize as like cat eye style, freeze that. And then for the second layer, I will do like the demagnetized part. So it's going to be the same process for all these colors I'm using just because I like the way that looks. At certain angles, you can see the cat eye, but you can really see like the clearness of the demagnetized part where like you can really see those shimmers pop. I want to make these stems a little bit thicker just because I'm going to be outlining everything in black, and I don't want the stems to be so thin that you can't really see the green in between the outline, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to make sure that they stay thick enough, but they're not too thick that they look like abnormal compared to the size of the tulip bulbs. I'm using my Function of X Black Void Gel Polish, and that's what I'm going to use for my outline because it's a one coat coverage black polish. It's super opaque, and I really love it. So I want thinner lines, so I'm just running my brush through my gel polish. I want to make sure that I don't have any like beads of gel. I just want it evenly distributed on my brush so that I get more even coverage. And then throughout the nail, I'm just going to randomly draw lines. There's no pattern, there's no rhyme or reason. It's ever however you want it to look. So throughout, I'm just kind of figure out like where I want to draw a line, and I'm just kind of playing it by ear. So they're going to be like vertical lines, horizontal lines. There's going to be like different shapes. So it's not all going to be like squares or triangles. It's going to look a little bit different. Just kind of mapping out where I want my colors to be. And I find this helpful because I don't know, I was just having a hard time visualizing, so I'd rather just outline where I want the colors to be. And I'm trying to find that balance of I want the areas that I form to be large enough to where you can really see those colors and the cat eyes pop. So you don't want them too small, but I don't want them too small to where, or I mean, sorry, too large to where I can't fit in more colors because I really want this to be colorful. I want to fit in as many colors as I can. So just finding that balance of large enough to show the color, but not too large that I can only fit like 2 colors on because I want to use multiple colors in this set. So what I really love about this is you can make it look however you want it to look. There's no like pattern, there's no set way to do it. You can do more spaces, you could do less, however you want it to look, but this is kind of how I was mapping it out in my head to make sure that I was happy with the way that looks. So hopefully you can kind of see that coming together, but now that I've got that pattern on, I'm going to fully cure that for 60 seconds. I cured my outline for 30 seconds, so now I'm going to start filling in those spaces, starting with my light blue. So I'm just going to do one color at a time because I'm going to use the same liner brush. So I'm just being very careful. I want to stay inside those borders of that black line and make sure that I'm not overlapping the other color of like the tulips, for instance. So I want to make sure that my layers aren't too thick because I want to make sure that they're going to cure all the way. I don't want any wrinkling. So I'm just being very careful to fill that in. And this part takes a long time because I do end up cat eyeing the first layer and then I have to flash cure it to freeze that design in place. So there's a lot of like flash curing that's happening, which makes it take a little bit longer. I prefer that look, but of course it would have been quicker if I didn't cat eye the first layer. I could have just gone in and filled in like all the spots that I wanted blue, cured that, and then gone in with my second layer. But because I wanted to cat eye them, I need to flash cure them in between, or else the magnetic particles may move back. So that's why it took a little bit longer to do it this way. So I'm going to do a couple areas. So I don't want the same colors next to each other. So I'm just going to like sporadically put this blue in certain areas, and then I'll fill in with the other colors. But I'm just kind of picturing like where I want the colors to be, making sure that, you know, I've got those thin enough layers for the first layer. And then once I'm happy with, I can't remember if this was the last spot I did or if I did another blue area, but once I'm done with doing all my first layers of my blue areas, I'm going to fully cure it before I go in with my second layer. Well, this did take a bit of time to do. There was something really relaxing about it. I don't know, I just really enjoyed just taking my time and filling in the colors. It kind of reminds me of a while, maybe a couple years ago, so maybe even a little longer that, but I used to get into like the adult coloring books. I had a lot of fun doing that. It was kind of like de-stressing and a lot of fun to do. And this kind of reminded me of that because I was just kind of coloring in the areas. You can kind of just like shut off your brain and just start coloring. So even though it took a long time, there was something really relaxing about it as well. So I sped that up a bit and then I skipped the second layer, so apologies for that, but I already know this video is going to be long enough. And I think you kind of get the gist of what I was doing anyway, that it was just coloring in. But now that I finished with all those layers, I fully cured it. Now I'm going back in with my black void, and I'm finally going to start outlining those tulips as well as the stems for that as well, because remember we didn't outline that. So I'm going ahead and outlining that. And then while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and deepen those lines in between those colors for my shapes, just so I have like those distinct lines. And I will say, I did the other colors off camera. I did my thumb, another stained glass design. I did film that, but it's not in this video. So I filmed it so that it can be a reel. So when eventually, once I get to editing that, it'll be a reel over on Instagram. If you're following me there, I'm Purplicious Dips on there as well. If you don't have Instagram, that's okay. I will probably upload it here eventually as a short as well, so you can see it here. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be as detailed either because you can only do like a minute long, but it will eventually be here if you want to see my thumb, because I did do a different design for that as well. In hindsight, I probably should have applied a matte top coat and cured it before I did this outline, just because the shininess of the gel made it a little more difficult to see like where the colors were. So if it were matte, it would have been a lot easier to see, especially I don't even know if you can tell what I'm doing in this video. So sorry if it's hard to tell. So if I do something like this again next time, I will matte top coat it first before I try to outline it. After I finished with my outline, I cured my nail for a full 60 seconds, but it's really uneven at this point because of all those different layers of gel and the outline. So I'm going to use my clear gel from 𝓢𝓮𝓮𝓮𝓲. This is like a clear builder gel. It's a really thick gel. So I'm going to use that to even out the nail. So you can kind of see like those light breaks on the nail, just showing just how uneven that surface is. And I really don't want that texture. I mean, if texture doesn't bother you, you could just top coat it, leave it as is. But I really wanted the surface to be even and smooth. So that's why I'm going in with this thicker gel just to even out the surface. So I'm kind of using the light as my guide to see where there are spots where it's still uneven, because I think they call it the line of light. When you can see like a clear straight line of light, that's when you know you have like a really good even surface. But where you see like those breaks in the light, that's kind of what tells you that it's uneven. So I'm just trying to apply like a thicker layer, trying to take a look at it, seeing the unevenness or evenness of it. I realize that I need a little bit more, so I'll apply a little bit more. And I'm going to do just some light buffing on top just to make sure that my nail isn't too thick. So I'm not really concerned about like, am I putting on too much gel, because I will do a little bit of buffing. I just want to make sure that everything is even as possible, just because with like so many different gels and so many different layers, it's going to look a little uneven. So this really helps with that, just to make it look as smooth and even as possible. So I'm turning it upside down for about 10 seconds because I want it to level. And then once I'm happy with that, I'm just going to check it really quick. And then once I'm happy with that, I'm going to cure it for a full 60 seconds. I cured my nails for a full 60 seconds and applied them off camera. And of course, I'm going to finish off my nail set by rehydrating my cuticles with my Scales of a Mermaid cuticle oil. This is one of the newest release scents. This is Pixie Dust. Luckily, it's a mainline scent because everyone is going to go crazy for it. So I love that it's really subtle. So I find it a little bit powdery, but it's also a little bit fruity, just a tiny bit floral. It's a really great, like, fresh, subtle type scent. It's a really great transition into spring type scent. So I do also have an affiliate code with Scales of a Mermaid, so you can use code Genie10 to save 10% off your orders. So that wraps up today's video, and there was my thumb, which you'll see a reel for later, and then the rest of my nail set. So the other nails I just did a solid color. It was a labor of love, and if you're still here hanging out, thank you for being in for the long haul. Leave me a flower emoji down below in the comments. So I hope this video is helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. Apologies, it was a longer one. If you did, I'd appreciate if you gave this video a thumbs up. It lets me know to continue creating content like this. And it also helps YouTube recommend me to others, which helps grow my channel. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I upload content every Monday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.